Now let us start with Arduino Uno. Okay, we have seen what is Internet of Things. So let me connect with Arduino Uno. Okay, Anchita, are you following? What is the query? Well, okay. So to answer your question, it is why this has become so popular, right? Okay, if you start with computer or embedded programming, that was there for a long time ago. Okay, but that was bit cumbersome. We have to use the programmer, debugger, and buying the chipset and other things are very complicated. It is not so easy like today. Okay, what made this thing possible now is the availability of open source hardware. Okay, Arduino is the open source hardware platform who provided this ecosystem to develop a program, embedded program, using a very little knowledge and using a USB interface, that is without buying any additional hardware, programmer or debugger. With little amount of knowledge anyone can code, that is enabled by Arduino. Okay, so that is a brief introduction why this Arduino system becomes so popular, because without having any advanced embedded knowledge, okay, with specific domain knowledge, anyone can code embedded level programming. That is the advantage of Arduino Uno. Okay, so let me talk about this now. If you see, there is a small microchip. This is, they used Atmega 328, right? You can see. So this is the art of this board. Okay, and you can see there are pins on the both the sides. Okay, where you can insert a single core wire, or you can connect to the sensors, or you can connect analog sensors or digital sensors. Okay, so these are the different types. Okay, let me explain what are these pins. Okay, on your top side you can see, that is a north side, you can see there are 14 pins, right? So all these things are known as digital pins. On your downside, that is south side, you can see there are 6 pins, that is A0 to A5, those are analog pins. Okay, out of these 14 digital pins, there are some are marked with a symbol, right? That is PWM signals, that is 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, or can be used for PWM. Also there is one default input output, that is a TX and RX 0, 1, or specifically used for conveying the messages from this to other system. Okay, this is about this part, and the essential core is Atmega chip. Okay, here we used 32 because this is a Uno board, so it used only 32 bit, 32 KB is the size. In 32 KB, 0.5, around 0.5 KB will be utilized by the bootloader. Fine. And if you see on the left hand side, you can see 2 pins, right? These are known as the power input and USB input. Okay, the USB input is directly one can connect to the computer and start programming on the fly. This is, if you after uploading the program you want to demonstrate without a PC, you can use this as additional power source, right? The other components, you can see there is a clock which sets this program to run on that. Okay, there is a small converter which will take the USB input and take into the Uno board. Okay, and it is already built in with bootloader. Okay, another advantage of using Arduino Uno is this programming is not a C or a C++. It is a different, very user friendly, simplistic language. I will cover slowly next topic about that. So this is about hardware, right? So once you take this board, Arduino Uno board, and connect a USB cable, you can install the drivers and you are ready to work. Any doubts? Size. Okay, this is very tiny size. I can say it will sit in your palm. This is very small in size, you can do. And maybe apart from the USB cable, you may need some single core wires to connect the sensors. Okay, so with this, let me go to the software side of it. This is the hardware part, how what is the board is all about. Okay, and how to write a program, how to upload it to this your written program to this board. So that is the next step. Okay, so before going into the program, let me talk about few things. One is known as sketch. Okay, in Arduino all the programs are known as sketch. Okay, you can write a small program that is called as sketch. What are the major or always available or important functions? Setup and loop. Okay, setup is the one where your libraries and other things get initialized. One time task are being performed in the setup function, whereas the loop function is the one which continuously runs. Okay, and as you know, in a digital thing only two types of are available, zeros and ones. So that is what the next topic, that is pin mode. All these pins available, you can use that as pin mode can be input or output. When you say input, that is you are getting some input from the sensors. Okay, output is you are writing a input to that sensor, or you are setting some value to that pin. So these are the two types of pin modes, that is input and output. Okay, next, other two important functions are digital read and digital write, meaning what is the value of the pin I want to write. Okay, similarly, what is the value of the pin value at that specific pin. So these are the functions. For the syntax of the digital write is digital write bracket open pin number and the value. You can set it as high or low. Similarly, digital read, the syntax is digital read and pin number. That is, for that pin number, what is the status that we can read. Okay, so let me start with the hello world program. Okay, like in software, we used to write a hello world program, right? In the same way, in hardware, it is known as blink. That is, give some input parameter and see that whether the LED connected to that specific pin is making a blink or not. Okay, so this is our first sketch, blink sketch. So what are the two basic functions need to be there? One is setup, another one is loop. Okay, first in setup mode, what are the things we have to do? What are all the tasks need to be defined or initialized? That has to be defined in this setup program, setup function. Okay, so what is the pin mode we are going to use? We want to give, we have to assign some value to the pin, so it is output. And what is the pin? This UNO board is having default or inbuilt LED attached at the pin number 13. So we will try to use, or alternately you can attach LED connecting to the pin number 13. Okay, so let us come to the loop function. What they have written? Digital write pin number and value is the syntax. Now if you see this line, that is digital write and then pin number 13 and the value assigned is I. That is, turn the LED on, that is I is the voltage level, and then introduce a delay of 1000. Here 1000 stands for milliseconds, that means 1 second. That is, you will set it to the I and then wait for 1 second and again put it off. So since it is inside a loop, you will see it is a blinking. Okay, this is your first program. It is very simple English, right? Do some of the initialization parameters. What are the parameters you are going to use? That will be in pin mode. And loop, you will write what are the actual functionality, and what are the major things we will be using, digital read or digital write, since we are using a digital pins here. Okay, so with that I will just jump on to the some of the reference sites. Okay, can get all the inputs from Arduino, since it is open source. All this coding and documentation is readily available. Okay, I will just touch upon, you can also read through. These are the major functions used. I explained just now, setup and loop. These are the two functions. And what are the normal control structures? It is like any other language, that is if condition for the specific condition, and else, if else is for, that is one condition. If that is not met, what will happen to the otherwise condition, that is if else condition. And then for is loop conditions, that is for instance you want to do 5 times, then then you can use this type of for and while, do while or for structure. Okay, and similarly when it is a switch case, you will have continue or break, right? And the another important thing in syntax is, if you are using a double quote, no, double slash, that is for single line command, and if you want to write a multi-line command, use slash and star, write all your command and again close it with star and slash. Okay, and we have to include function is for the other libraries. Sometimes we may need to use the existing libraries, that is where we have to use of include functions. Okay, and there are the arithmetic operators, what operators you can use, what are the boolean operators. Okay, these are the major data types and variables. Just now we have seen I, low, LED pins, all those things. If you see functions, again analog functions and digital functions, like digital read and write, we are having analog read and analog write. Okay, you can read most of the things, it's readily available and it's not very difficult, it's very easy to follow, right? So with this, let